All right, folks, this is Mr. H here. I'm going to give you the quick run through of the periodic table. In order to complete this activity, you're going to need to make sure that you have the periodic table note packet with you. And then you're also going to want to grab some colored pencils. As we go through the video, make sure you pause to fill in your notes at all the different spots where I give you the notes. Don't let it keep playing through because you'll get behind very, very easily. All right, here we go. So we're going to be looking at the periodic table today. We've already looked at this before, but we're going to go into more detail today. So the periodic table has a lot of special grouping to it. The elements are not just put in some random order. There is a lot of thought put into this. So first of all, the periodic table is organized vertically and horizontally. The horizontal groups of the periodic table are called periods. So all of these groups that go side to side, these are all your periods, and the periods go 1 through 7. Okay, there is a spot in your note sheet on the back page. There's a spot that says periods, so go ahead next to that, write down horizontal rows. Okay, and then vertically, we have these things called groups, or also known as families. Okay, these are the vertical columns. They are called groups or families. Go ahead and write that down as well on your note sheet where it says families and periods. Groups / families are vertical. Okay. Next, you're going to go ahead and make sure you have some colored pencils. You're going to need at least 6 different colors. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and then maybe, I don't know if we have purple, but maybe get a darker blue in order to fill this part in. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to find the metals, and we're going to label the metals yellow. Okay, so the metals are this entire section on your periodic table. Okay, all of these you're going to outline in yellow. Okay, outline. Do not color it in, but outline it with a bold yellow line. Okay, and these are your metals. Okay, so this whole area here outlined in yellow. Hit pause and do that now. On your note sheet on the back page, there is a spot to fill in metals. So go ahead and put a little yellow next to metals so that you know that metals are yellow on your periodic table in that box. And then in that box, let's go ahead and write down the characteristics of metals. Metals are lustrous, which means they are shiny. Okay, metals are good at changing their shape without breaking. Okay, what that means is you can stretch them out into wires. They're stretchy. Okay, you can pull on them and they don't just crack and break. They stretch. And they're also what we call malleable. Okay, malleable means that if you take a chunk of metal and you start banging on it with a hammer, it will flatten out rather than just shatter into pieces. Okay, so you can stretch metals out and you can flatten metals out. They're very good at changing their shape. And then lastly, metals are great at conducting heat and electricity. We learned that in the last unit. Metals are great conductors. Please write all of this down in the box that says metals. Okay, and if an element is not a metal, then it is considered to be a non-metal. Okay, a non-metal is everything that a metal is not. It's the opposite. Okay, non-metals are dull. They're not shiny. They're brittle. If you hit them with a hammer, they shatter. They, for the most part, do not conduct heat or electricity. They are non-conductors. Okay, so your non-metals are going to be hydrogen plus all of these over here in the upper right-hand corner. These are your non-metals. Let's go ahead and outline those in blue on your periodic table in the front of your packet. Outline those in blue. And then do me a favor, make sure that you put a little blue marking on the back of your packet where it says non-metals, and go ahead and fill in the little note box on the back where it says non-metals. Non-metals are dull, brittle, and non-conducting. So go ahead and fill in the front and back of your packet, please. And lastly, there are these strange metals that are kind of metallic, kind of non-metallic. they display properties of both. So for example, they might be shiny but not conductive. They might be brittle but conductive. So they're a little metal, they're a little non-metal, okay? And what we call these is metalloids, okay? And specifically, it is boron, silicon, germanium, arsenic, antimony, tellurium, and astatine. So this little slice of elements here, please outline in green. Metalloids are green. And then go ahead and flip to the back of your packet as well after you've outlined these in green, and go ahead and write in the little spot for metalloids that metalloids have properties of both metal and non-metal, and put a little green marking in there so that we know metalloids are green. Okay, so far we should have families, periods, metals, non-metals, and metalloids filled in on our note sheets. All right, so now, families and groups. Elements are put in these things called families and groups. They are columns that run up and down. Okay, we call them families because element families are a lot like human families in that these human families, right, everybody in your family has similar characteristics, right? You come from kind of like the same gene pool, right? So you've got similar traits between everybody in your family. Well, elements that are in families also have similar traits, okay? So, this group here, group 1, these elements have similar traits. Group 2, these elements have similar traits, so on and so forth, okay? So families, elements that are in families and groups have common traits. Not only that, but a lot of these families have special names, okay? So we're going to give you the names of these families and also the traits that are in each family. Okay. Again, remember periods go left to right. Okay. And as you go left to right, these elements are actually not the same. They gradually get different. They slowly change over time. Okay. So as we go from left to right, the trends or properties of these elements get slightly different. Okay. So we're going to focus on the families. So again, on the back of your packet, you have 6 areas to write in: alkali metals, halogens, transition metals, alkaline earth metals, noble gases, and then lanthanides and actinides. Okay, so we're going to fill these in. So family 1 or group 1 is on the far left here, and it goes from lithium all the way down to francium. So you're going to outline these in red, or just gently sort of shade them in so you can still see the elements. Alkali metals are pretty cool because they are very, very soft. You can literally take an alkali metal and cut it with a knife. Okay, when you cut it with a knife, you'll notice that inside it's very, very silvery, very, very shiny silvery color. And the coolest thing about alkali metals is that when you put them in water, they burst into flames and explode. They're very, very reactive metals. Okay, so on your periodic table, shade in this small area here lightly with red. Okay, and then on the back of your packet, fill in the box for alkali metals and also shade that in red. Go ahead and hit pause on the video and do that now, please. Next group up, 1 to the right, a neighbor of the alkali metals is the alkaline earth metals. Okay, these are group 2 or group 2A, sometimes we call them. And it goes from beryllium all the way down to radon, okay? Radium. Okay, so beryllium through radium. All right, you're going to take these and we're going to shade them in orange. Okay, if you don't have an orange, you could do like a little yellow with a little red over it to get that thing orange. Okay, remember, as we move to the right, the properties of the elements slightly change. So as we move to the right, these elements are also reactive, but they're not as soft as the alkali metals. They're a little bit tougher, okay, but they're silvery. So these are silvery and reactive, and they're very, very light. Silvery, reactive, and light. So all of these elements behave very similarly. Again, write this down on the note part in your packet and color in this column orange. Okay, now, once you get through the alkaline earth metals, then you have this jump here. There's this big area, okay, of metals that all behave slightly differently, okay? We call these the transition metals because you're transitioning from this area to this area. Okay, so we call it the transition metals. These metals are all very, very different. They behave differently. They have different reactivities, but a lot of these metals form very colorful compounds. They're very, very unique. So some of these compounds will be bright pink, some will be blue, some will be orange, yellow. You get a lot of weird stuff going on with these. They're pretty cool. A lot of the most common metals that you've heard of in the course of your life fall into this group, right? Like silver, copper, zinc, gold's in here, platinum. Okay, a lot of those. Okay, we're going to go ahead and shade this section in lightly with yellow. And then in the box, on the other side of your packet, you're just going to write in transition metals are yellow and form colorful compounds. Okay, we're going to keep moving to the right here. Okay, what you'll notice is there's really no specialized families in this area here, so we just kind of gloss over it a little bit. The next special family you get is over here in group 7 or 17. We call this group the halogens. Halogens are pretty cool because they're very, very reactive, pretty nasty. They're also all gases with the exception of iodine over here. So these are reactive gases. They're so reactive that they always come in pairs of 2. If you'll recall, remember we had diatomic elements that we talked about way back when. We talked about Hunkelbrief. Okay, so a lot of those elements that are in Hunkelbrief are halogens. Okay, these come in groups of 2, and they are extremely reactive. Go ahead and lightly shade in this family blue, and go ahead and transfer this information to the box for halogens. All right, and then our last family here on the very far right are called the noble gases. Okay, the noble gases are unreactive gases. We call that being inert. They react with very, very few elements. They stick to themselves. That's why they're commonly called noble. It's like nobility in the old days. Noble people only hang out with other nobles, right? They don't want to hang out with the lower class individuals, right? So that's kind of like these gases here. They don't hang out with any other elements. They don't bond with any other elements. They stick to themselves. Okay, these are the noble gases. We're going to color, this section in purple, and we're going to fill in the box for noble gases on the other side. Go ahead and take a second. Let's do that now. Okay, like I said before, these other families here, these for the boron, carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen families, they don't really have a fancy name. This is just literally called the boron family, carbon family, nitrogen family, oxygen family. The families do have similar traits, so all the elements in this family behave similarly, and the same thing can be said for these. They do still act as families, they just don't have fancy names or fancy traits, okay? So here's what you're going to do. On your note sheet, if you would, I would like you to flip to the 3rd page, okay, and I would like you to look up barium, argon, and iodine, okay? Let me give you a quick tutorial on how to do this. You'll look and find the element. So we're going to look for potassium. Potassium is right here. It's element K. It's element number 19. So the symbol for potassium is K. Remember, the atomic number is that number that's unique to each element. So like hydrogen is 1, beryllium's 4, barium is here, right? Strontium, like gold is 79, just as an example. Remember, we use the atomic number quite a bit first semester. Okay, family would be the group that it's in. So for example, potassium is in the alkali metals, alkali, or family 1. And then properties, look it up on your notes, right? So these are soft, right? Silvery, and react with water, for example. So you're going to go ahead, you're going to find barium, argon, and iodine, okay? And you're going to give me the symbol, atomic number, what family, and then properties based on your notes, okay? You're going to go ahead and finish that up. Then, when you're done with all of this, you're going to, in your notability, you're going to go to photos. You're going to scan. So you're going to hit the scan button in the lower right-hand corner. And then you will go ahead and scan in Okay, your notes, all 3 pages of your completed notes, and then you will go ahead and turn those in on Schoology as proof that you have completed your notes today. Okay, it is formative points. Please do not take a 0 on this. You have plenty of time to get these notes done. Thanks for watching. If you missed any of this, go back and watch it again. That's the beauty of giving you a video lecture. Thanks, and I will see you tomorrow.